We would be honored if you would join us.
Conundrum and Expat Stacker. Each week or so, a new part of an episode will be released on one of our channels, and then next week on the other person's channel, and so on. So don't miss anything. Go ahead and subscribe to both of our channels. And we have a very special treat for you guys. This is our first time welcoming a guest, Golden Gun. So go over and also subscribe to his channel. So this week, the Silvercast is the Gold Baby Gold Cast. So how you doing today, Golden Gun?
I love it. Thanks for that intro there, Expat Stacker. I'm doing great, and it's a great honor to be on this channel with you guys. Thank you very, very much.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much for agreeing to come on as our first guest. Now, we do want to wish our mutual friend and co-host Silver Conundrum well. He's been sick recently and been working a ton of overtime. And I was just talking to him last night, and he's without power because they've been hit with a hurricane. So we're hoping that he's going to pull through and be all right. So just wanted to mention that. And also, before we start the discussion, please note the disclaimer: Expat Stacker, Silver Conundrum, and Golden Gun are not financial advisors or experts. Investing is risky and comes with the chance that you could lose money. Talk to a licensed professional before making any decision about what to do with your money. This video and all of the contents on our channels is for entertainment and educational purposes only, and should not be taken as financial advice. All right, and in this episode, we're going to be getting into a couple of different topics. So first, we're just going to introduce Golden Gun to the world. And second, we're going to talk about what it's like stacking in Australia. And then last, we're going to talk about how to build a stacking strategy. We'll just compare strategies and talk strategy stuff. And I've seen a lot of strategy videos. Juice Stacker had one, Anna T had one, Millennial Stacker had one. So I think, we're getting toward the end of the year and people are going to start thinking about what they're going to do strategically for next year. So great topic. All right, so let's get into that first topic. So who is Golden Gun? Can you just briefly introduce yourself for anyone who may not be familiar with you or your channel?
Sure. So I've been on YouTube for the last couple of months, and it's been great. The community is fantastic. And the channel name's Golden Gun because I do stack silver and now even a little bit of platinum. But gold is kind of where my heart lies at the moment, and is the focus of the channel. I did start stacking a little bit in 2015, and that was silver then. A lot of people start with silver before they move on to other things like gold anyway. But didn't do enough with it after 2015 until sort of last year. So I've been stacking since then, and I've been in the community for the last 2 months and loving it.
All right, awesome. So I'm always interested to hear that backstory, like about how people started and when they started getting interested in precious metals. And so you're saying you started stacking in 2015?
That's right. I mean, in the past, I was interested in property. I was interested in shares and other things. And I did buy a property, an investment property in 2009. I still have that property. It's probably the smartest financial decision I ever made. But I was always looking, what do I do in between properties? I mean, there are ways that you can be trading and doing stuff with properties nonstop, but generally you buy one property, it's going to be a whole lot of years until you buy another property. So in the meantime, you've got to save and you've got to invest in different ways. And I found silver and precious metal stacking. I had it introduced to me by somebody else in 2015. That's when that happened.
All right, awesome. So, do you mind if I ask what type of property? Is it a residential property or like a commercial property?
No, it's a residential property. It's a four-bedroom house. Back then in 2009 in Australia, there was a large first homeowner grant, but you had to buy or build brand new. So in the suburb I lived in, I couldn't afford to buy a house. Maybe I could have afforded a brand new one-bedroom apartment, but that wouldn't have gone up as much. So I went to the new estates a little bit outside of the centre. And I bought a four-bedroom house. I lived there for a short time to follow the rules of the first homeowner grant, and I rented it out since then to a family. And obviously, it was a good idea. It worked out well buying it in 2009, right in the GFC time. Now it's gone up a lot and done well since then.
Right, right. So how's that like? I mean, managing a residential property and owning a property, is it really challenging? Is it difficult? Or I mean, what's your experience with it?
Mainly, it's not so much of a problem. I just let a real estate agent do the work for me. They take $100 a month. That's in Australian dollars, so probably about $70 American. And it just comes in every month. Every now and then, there's repairs and little things that you've got to spend some money on and have available. But otherwise, I don't feel that much richer, even though it's gone up a lot, because I mean the rent just pays a small mortgage on it, and that's pretty much it. But property is a real asset as well, just like precious metals. It's not fiat and based on nothing. It's not money, but it's a real asset. So yeah, I am a fan of property in general. Holding it long term is always a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. It does have intrinsic value and lasts over time, so it is definitely an asset. And I'm glad you talked about that, because I don't know, I feel like sometimes in our community it might be a little too micro focused on just one asset class. And I've talked with a few other channels about having a good diversified portfolio of different asset classes. Inefficient Stacker talked about that a lot too. I discussed with him in the comment section of one video. So definitely glad that you brought that up, and also how it's similar to but different from precious metals, and how like one thing led to another, right? Where you had this huge acquisition of a property, and what are you going to do between this investment and the next investment. And so that's awesome. So you started with stacking silver, right, you said?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And then so how long did it take for you to switch your interest over towards gold?
Well, in 2015, I bought some silver coins, maybe 30 or 40 ounces worth, semi-numismatic. So we're talking silver kookaburras, silver pandas, stuff like that. I still have some of that. I'm going to show on my channel. I haven't shown it yet because it's in a vault in the city. And I saw that, wow, if I am going to get a whole lot of them, that's going to start to take up a lot of space. Which is one of the issues with silver, or one of the benefits of gold over silver. So I didn't straight away move to gold. I then moved to silver kilobars, because stacking kilobars takes up a bit less space than individual 1 ounce coins and capsules that are round. And I bought a few bars, silver bars, kilobars as well. I did notice here, I was following our silver forum and secondary markets here, and the silver kilo bars seem to be extremely liquid. People have no problem buying and selling them all the time. So that kind of got me that far into it. And that was mainly in 2015. I didn't buy any gold in 2015.
All right. So in what was it, 2016, 17? I mean, like, when did you kind of switch over towards your focus more on gold?
Well, I started learning a little bit more about gold. I noticed that it was a tier one asset. It's still viewed as money. And I started researching. I learned that gold is less volatile than silver. Generally in history, it goes up more consistently, while silver can rush up a bit more and follow gold. and it takes a little bit longer when it's on the way down. It might take a few months at least for it to go down, while silver does it very, very fast and it's harder to time. But I mean, mainly I'm using a vault in the city to store my metals. And I thought, okay, silver, I'm still going to buy it, and I do like it, but I'm going to be more careful and slower with my silver purchases. I don't want to fill up my vault and have to pay for a more expensive vault. Um, and uh, and we're not really trying to take huge risks and make money overnight and get rich overnight when we're stacking physical gold and silver. So that's pushed me more towards the gold, even though I'm a fan of silver and the other precious metals also.
Yeah, right. That's a really good point. The kind of the more stability and the longer history of stability and taking up less space. And you're right. Like these are, well, they can be, if there's some people who are trying to flip things or, getting to the numismatic game or whatever. But if you're really just stacking to preserve your wealth, like gold, definitely seems like it has a lot of advantages over silver. But yeah, that we don't have to choose between one or the other or say which one's better. They're different and they do different stuff. So, but it's interesting that the golden gun got into the game first with silver. A lot of people do get into stacking, with silver first. I mean, it's a little less intimidating, and the entry point is a lot lower, and also, I mean, you get bigger physical pieces for what you end up spending in terms of fiat. So at first, I think people like that, right? Because you grow your stack really fast, really
Exactly.
quickly, and then you get into this this kind of situation where you're like, what am I gonna do with all this? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Glad you mentioned that some people do different things and semi-numismatic, etc. I'm a big fan of the semi-numismatic, but when I'm thinking that silver in general can go down and be harder to time when to sell than gold, that makes me like doing a bit more semi-numismatic stuff with the gold than I do with the silver. That's why I like the kilo bars and silver a little bit more rather with gold. I'm looking for a little bit more semi-numismatic more often.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm a huge fan of kilo bars as well. Actually, my first piece of silver was a kilo bar. I bought a kilo silver bar and a 11.25 gram gold bar at the same time when I first started stacking. So I love the kilo bars as well. So yeah, that's actually kind of a good segue to talk about like the numismatic stuff, because I wanted to talk to you about like how you kind of consider yourself. Like, do you consider yourself as like a stacker or a collector or an investor, or just a regular person who is just engaged in this asset class, or perhaps like a prepper? What how do you kind of classify yourself? I mean, all of um those different monikers have different meaning to different people, but like how do you kind of see yourself as fitting into these different categories?
Sure, you're right that they definitely have different meanings to different people. I don't so much consider myself a prepper. I'm not really focused on society completely ending as a whole, and we're going to be chased around by zombies and that sort of thing. Of course, I'm exaggerating here, but I mainly as a stacker and a bit of a collector, semi-numismatic. I'm not going, well, I haven't gone yet into full collector mode. I haven't got into the slab stuff and the highly graded stuff. That's a whole nother world, and I'm just not there yet. But I really like the idea of semi-numismatic. If you can pick up stuff that is still not too far from spot, but it's still semi-numismatic, you've got a chance of the premium rising. And adding value and property more than you would just with the metal alone. But at the same time, you haven't bought it too far from spot as well. So you're in the stacking category as well. So I like to try to walk that fine line, I guess. If I see I've got a little bit too much more semi-numismatic or collector type stuff, I think to myself, wow, I better get more stacker type stuff, and then move back again, back and forth, just waiting out my stacks to whatever I feel comfortable, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm probably like, roughly the same as you as well. By the way, I just curious. We're gonna get into talking about like Australia later, but is there like a prepper community in Australia? Because most of the people that I see who are like preppers are from the United States primarily. Is there a community of preppers in Australia?
There probably is, but not that I know of. It'd be a much smaller community. I also see online and on TV. It seems to be definitely more prevalent in America.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. So you mentioned that somebody, like one of your friends, got you into stacking. How'd that work out? I mean, did he have some like bullion and just show you, and then you're like, oh, that's cool, that's a good idea, I'm interested, or like how did that whole situation play out?
Well, first he told me about his stack and what he's stacking, and started to say why, and immediately I had the normal reaction to want to cut him off, and say to myself, come on, it's just going to go up with inflation and not be a good investment. And I was about one sentence into that, and it just hit me, and I'm like, hold on a second. And I started to really think about it, and I started realizing, hey, there's a lot you can do with this, and you can do it in different ways, and it's going to have a lot of benefits. It kind of just hit me. And then he showed me his stack. He had a couple hundred ounces of different silver coins, semi-numismatic. He had a crazy amount of kilo bars. He had a smattering of gold coins, and he had a few palladium coins, which I guess now he would have done very well having. I think he had a couple of Australian platypus coins. So yeah, I've got to credit him for getting me into it, but mainly he just kind of planted the seed, and my mind ran with it once he planted the seed. That's really all he had to do.
Nice. So what about you? Because I remember one of your earliest videos, maybe your first or second video, you had one of your friends with you when you were recording, right? Have you gotten anyone into stacking?
That's right. I've gotten him into stacking. That's my best mate. About a year ago, I started telling him about it, and he's followed me into the world. He's mainly gone into gold, and he has a couple of silver kilos as well, just because I was, I guess, already into gold when he started following me. I brought him to a meetup in our community here in Melbourne, and he bought a little bit there. And mainly, and then he started buying over the next 6 months, which last year was obviously a very good time to buy, which makes me feel good that he's obviously done very well with it. At the moment, he's had a little bit of expenses and had to sell a couple of things. One thing I bought of him, that's I think I have a video, that's a half-ounce gold snake, just because he had to sell. But he's looking to buy some more, so I guess it's come full circle. I'm now getting other people into it, and hopefully with our YouTube videos, we're opening the minds of more people, to great hobby and a smart thing to do.
Yeah, it's funny because I on the one hand, like stacking to me is like it's like savings and it's like a financial thing, but it's also like this hobby, so it's kind of like a very unique thing in that aspect, because like I invest in the stock market and stuff like that, but I don't look at that as like a hobby, like
Yeah.
I guess it could be, but this is just a little different. So that's interesting, and I think it's a little easier perhaps to get people involved with it because of the there's like the collector aspect, and it's like a physical thing you can look at and hold and stuff, and there's a lot of history there. So you mentioned just now that there was like a meetup.
That's right. It starts to get into a little bit more Australia specifically, but we've got a forum here which is great for anybody in Australia. It's called Silver Stackers, the Silver Stackers forum, and silverstackers.com.au. And it's very much like the Silver Forum. Some of the big YouTubers in England, Stacker and Backyard Bullion, have talked about the Silver Forum, so people probably know have heard about that, at least from YouTube. We've got the equivalent in Melbourne, and there's a lot of buying and selling that happens there. And in most of the states here, not this year because of the beer flu, but otherwise they generally have a meetup once or a couple of times a year, and there's dealers there as well, and there seems to be a lot of good deals. So that was really cool to go to that last year. It was the first time I've gone. I would have gone this year had it been on. And yeah, I brought my friend with me. So that's what I was talking about there. That's the meetup.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. So is it kind of like almost like a coin show?
It's almost like a coin show, but it's mainly just guys from the guys and girls from the forum that go to it, and usually it's been put on by one or two of the dealers that sponsor the forum. The forum isn't run by dealers, but they do have some dealers and local coin shops that sponsor them, and they'll just book a room for us somewhere. And bring a whole lot of stuff, and they'll let us bring stuff as well and sell to each other as well. So that's what it is. And we have a little auction at the end, and you get to meet up with other people. So yeah, so it's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. I'm not in the United States, so I don't know if anything like that exists in the United States. But if it does, let's hear about it in the comments section. And also, if there's anybody who's participates in the Silver Forum, you can compare and contrast with what Golden Gun is talking about here. That is pretty awesome. Yeah. So just a last quick question. You kind of already touched on this a lot already, but I was just kind of wondering like what you like to stack in terms of like the backbone of your stack. So you mentioned kilo bars. I know you have lunar series stuff for kind of like semi numismatic stuff, and then also I've seen kangaroos. There's all these animals, right? Kangaroos I've seen on your channel. So what's kind of like the core of your stack?
You've got it right. You've been watching my videos. The Lunar series is a great series here in Australia, and that's just where I am, and it's really, really available, and it's been doing really well for we're in the third series now, but the first and second series, did amazingly, and the premiums have gone up, and it was really popular. So a big part of my stack, and will continue to be, is the Lunar series. I have got some of those 1/10 kangaroo and gold, which you have as well, that we're both getting. And I looked at that and I thought to myself, wow, I am heavy in the Lunar. And that's why recently I started that new gold project. I also looked around on that Silver Stackers forum and the Facebook group that I'm a part of, and saw that what else is highly liquid and gets traded all the time. So here in Australia, people are trading gold sovereigns all the time. We are still part of the UK and that British Empire, and that's really popular here. So that's why I've got a tube where I'm wanting to build a tube of sovereigns and a tube of other gold, popular gold, sort of in that quarter-ounce size, just so I can not be too heavy on the Lunar. But yes, Lunar would be the core of my stack. You're exactly right. And you yourself, I've seen your videos. For a guy that's not in Australia, I know you're in South Korea. You're pretty big on the Perth Mint. You're not doing bad with the Lunars and the Perth Mint yourself.
Oh yeah. I am a huge fan of the Perth Mint, and I do like the Lunars a lot, as well as the Dragon coin bars. Man, yeah, I can't say enough good stuff about the Perth Mint. I really do not have anything bad to say. So yeah, it's definitely a huge part of my stack as well. Yeah, just last point, and this might be related to one of the things you just mentioned, but I've actually gotten a lot of great information from a limited number of videos that you have released. Like even in the first couple of videos, I was learning things, and since then you've given lots of great information. where do you get that information? Is that part of the like groups that you're a part of, or?
That's exactly right. I mean, I just snagged that information through luck and through being part of a Facebook group. Someone in a Facebook group, they emailed the Perth Mint directly because they already collected all three of those dragon bars that you talked about, and they asked them, "Do you plan on doing it next year?" So that's where I got the answer for that. Also on the Stackers forum, someone else emailed the Perth Mint and copied and pasted the answer that they got from them about when is the Lunar 3 Ox coming out, and stuff like that. So I mean, the more you're part of the community and you interact, people that are more experienced or are researching and finding stuff out themselves, they're going to share it with you, and it's I just thought I'd better share a couple of those things on my channel as well, so I can share it with other people. But that's where I got it from. It was the good work of other people.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the truth. That's the part, the good part about being part of the community. And I, for one, definitely appreciate that information because I was able to, prepare for the release. I was not expecting the Lunar 3 to come out in October for 2021, because if I remember correctly, last year I picked up the mouse like I think in December, maybe it was November, but it would have surprised me if I hadn't heard about that. And also, as I mentioned, the Dragon Coin bars, I'm pretty much obsessed with that series, so it's good to know that that's coming out as well. So appreciate you sharing. Okay, is there anything else you want to let people know about you? Any Instagram or anything else you want to say about yourself before we finish up this part 1 of episode 3?
I think that's pretty good there. I'm not quite there on the Instagram. I've only had it's only been a couple months I've been on YouTube. I do plan on getting on Instagram soon, so I'll let people know on my channel when that happens. But that's pretty much it. I do want to say, you just mentioned your dragon bar, that you're obsessed with it. People should go check that out on Expat Stacker. Yeah, I mean, you've got the silver, you've got the proof, and you've got the gold. I don't know too many people that have the full set like that. It's a pretty amazing set.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That is, that's definitely the crown jewel of all the things I've accumulated. So I appreciate that, definitely. All right, guys. So that's going to do it for part 1 of episode 3. If you guys have any questions for Golden Gun, or you have anything else you want to say about the podcast, then go ahead and leave it in the comment section. And thank you for watching, everybody. Have a great day.
Yeah, and just thank you, everybody. Again, thank you so much for having me on your channel as a guest. I know Silver Conundrum wasn't here this week, so if I'm filling in for him, those are big shoes to fill. But yeah, thank you very much for having me. It was an honor.
Absolutely.